Man, I really need to do something about this fuel storage. Does this look as bad to y'all as it does to me? There's a diesel tank sitting on top of a diesel tank, a broken pallet with another gasoline tank, and we're not even going to worry about that stuff over there. Let me turn this camera around just a second. So let's talk about some emergency heat. Fall's here, whether we like it or not. I got my jacket on, came inside here to the shop because that wind's cold outside. Power outages, all these other things that could cause something to not work and knock the power out. I put up a video several years ago that's a terrible quality video that goes over kerosene. And kerosene's good. We still have kerosene heaters. We still use it, just not very much. We've moved away from it and moved on to propane. And as far as propane, we've moved on to specifically the Buddy style heaters, you know, the Buddy heater and then the Big Buddy heater. I've got both of them here on the table. Let me turn this camera around and I'll show them to you and we'll talk about them. All right, so sitting here on the table, I've got the regular Buddy heater and the Big Buddy heater. These are supposedly indoor safe. We've used them indoors many a times, haven't caused any issues. And let me get into the reason why I like these over a kerosene heater real quick, and then stick around and we'll go over the specifics of this stuff. Around our house have switched where we hardly ever use the kerosene heaters anymore. We've switched to these guys and they really work out great. This right here is the normal Buddy heater. And I believe it has a low and a high of like 5,000 and 9,000 BTU. It holds one of these canisters or the hose that can hook up to, you know, your barbecue style propane tank. This over here is the Big Buddy heater. The main difference in this, as you can see, there's two burner elements in it, is one side of this is also just like this, the 5 and the 9,000 BTU, and then whenever you kick on the other burner and put it on high, it bumps it up to 18,000 BTU. It has a spot to hold two of the 1 pound canisters, as well as they're notched down here in the doors to allow the hose to fit through, so that you can run them off a little bit more easily run them off the big barbecue style bottles. The way we primarily use these is this one almost never gets used on high. It stays on medium or low, because with these little bottles, you will run through these crazy fast on high. So we leave it just enough to keep the room that we're in warm. We did have a pretty good freeze that here in Texas that made, you know, national, if not global news in early 2020. It knocked out power to almost the whole state. In the area that we're at, we didn't really have the total blackout like some places did, but we did have brownouts where the power would be out for a few hours and then it would come back on. And these little guys right here did a pretty good job of keeping our house comfortable. I mean, it really didn't affect us much. I'm in the Panhandle, so I'm a little bit further north as far as Texas is concerned. I mean, Dallas is, you know, 5 to 6 hour drive away from where I'm at. But it did get substantially colder. I think we were down around minus 15 for a couple of days. And as long as we were diligent about keeping the heat in the room that we wanted it to stay in, this guy right here did just fine. We didn't really need much additional. It wasn't exactly, you know, a 72 degrees comfortable, but we were just fine, you know, sitting there in a pajamas, in a sweater, maybe a light jacket. I don't know, 66, 68 degrees is what our house stayed, at least the living room where we liked to spend our time. Now, if you buy either one of these, there are some other things that you'll need to buy. First and foremost, you're going to need one of the adapter hoses. This is a new one. I haven't used this one yet, but whenever you buy these, I didn't dig up my old one from last year. When you buy these, you will need to run a filter on them. So go ahead and do that. There's oil in these propane tanks. After they've been filled a few times, there's some oil that accumulates in them. That oil will get inside of these heaters and it will clog them up and ruin them. So spend the $5 and get the actual Mr. Heater brand filter that goes in this line. Cut it, it goes on with 2 hose clamps, easy enough. They probably do sell the hose that has the line already, the filter already attached in the line. I've got a bunch of them. I don't have one here today. I buy them, in the springtime when they all go on sale. So I wasn't going to spend the extra money. I just got the regular standard hose. Another thing that you're going to need to buy is these, while advertised, they have a low oxygen cutoff. I'm not going to trust that. So have some way to monitor that level, and definitely a CO monitor as well. And at least crack a window. Use your brain, be realistic in what you're expecting it to do, and do your due diligence. But we have used these for, oh gosh, I'm not even going to try to estimate how many hours of use both of these have on them. This one over here is nice. It's a whole lot more portable, and you'd be surprised how much lighter weight it is than the bigger one. This right here did at one time live in a well house. It ran off of one of the larger propane tanks. It's still a portable propane tank, but I believe it was instead of the 5-gallon size, it was the double, one of the tall ones. And it would run for a week or so whenever we left it on low, and it would keep that well house from freezing up and keep the water flowing. If I was going to buy just one of these, I would straight go for it. I'd get the bigger one. The bigger one allows you to run 2 of these little gas canisters. It allows you to get 2 of these hoses and run 2 of the bigger bottles. It's just a lot more versatile. It does include a fan and a switch where you can turn the fan on and off. Yeah, here it is right here. I'm not sure if you can see that. There is a switch right here that can turn the fan on or off. The smaller one does not include that. What's my opinion of that? I guess it's cool. Maybe if you had it in a deer blind, it would help. It just turns so slow and it moves such small amount of air. It doesn't make a difference in our house. And besides that, you can buy the little wall adapter plug, which I'm not going to use this if the power's running anyway. Or you can buy, I think it takes like 6 D-cell batteries. Those are expensive, bulky. They don't last very long. We don't ever use the fan. It doesn't do me any good. I never turn it on. Half the time I don't even think about it being there. Aside from that, another thing you need to think about is once you get into the camp bottle style propane heaters, is that you buy into that ecosystem of propane equipment. And this includes things like your camp stoves. If you have an electric stove, you probably need that. And your camp lanterns that use the little mantles, those work great. They're super bright and they actually do put off a good amount of heat. You're not supposed to run them indoors, but we're adults, most of us are. We can use our own judgment and make a judgment call on what we need to do. And those things put off an incredible amount of light. Other than that, obviously they're great for camping or just hanging out in your backyard at night, having, barbecue or whatever. They're a great source of light for that. And all of that comes with this ecosystem that you purchase into whenever you get something that runs off these little 1-pound cylinders. These 1-pound cylinders, they are a lot more expensive than using the barbecue grill style propane tanks or something bigger than that, but they're convenient. If my sister or any of my wife's family just needs some heat, it's real easy to grab up a little 4-pack of these that we get from Sam's Club, run over to their house, drop this off, show them how to light it. It's pretty self-explanatory, and tell them just to run it as low as possible and just drop that off and let them borrow it. It's compact, easy to use. And back to the switching over from kerosene, the whole ease of use issue, I can trust my 11-year-old son. I can tell him, hey, can you go light one of those heaters right quick? I'm not worried about it. He knows that if he has trouble after a couple minutes to come get me, say, hey, I need some help. I'm not sure if I would trust him to light one of those big 23,000 BTU kerosene heaters. So I think there's an element of safety involved with that, let alone the whole fact of if you get bad kerosene or water in the kerosene, the wicks go to smoking if you let them run out. Whenever these run out, they just quit. They just turn off. And they shut it completely down. There's a cutoff valve that doesn't allow these to leak. Not that you should trust that to work, but I think that these are a lot safer to use. Now, I will say this. The United States as a whole, we had a rough winter last year, and a lot of those old timers are saying that's coming this year. And if it's not coming this year, it's going to come eventually. And these are available at every store you go to right now. Sam's Club is the cheapest place I've found for these. Aside from that, Walmart normally has a pretty good stock of them. Pretty much anywhere you can find these, you can find the adapter hoses to run the bigger bottles. You're going to need at least 2 of these. You don't have to have 2 of them, but 2 of them is it sure makes things a lot easier. I really think especially if you're on all electric heat, this right here is the easy button. You want to pick something easy to get your house not toasty warm, but keep your house livable and keep it at least somewhat comfortable. You can't beat these as far as price or anything else. So be sure and grab some of those up and keep a pretty good stock of these. My suggestion to you is to buy about 4 of these. Take whichever heater you decide to use, set the heater to medium, and turn it on and time it and burn it completely out. Burn it completely dead, and then time that, because where I live, this may not run as long as where you live, or any number of factors could come into play there. So time it, that way you can see about how many bottles you will need to buy. Also keep in mind that whenever these are bone chilling cold, they're not going to be as efficient as whenever they come up to room temperature. It'll be a little bit harder to light, so you'll need to keep that in mind. If you expect the power to go out, do not leave these attached to the heater, but it's okay to leave the heater inside, leave this inside, and allow it to warm up. What I do whenever I need to run the big barbecue grill style is it takes a long time to purge this line. This line purges really slow. And I'm sure you're probably not supposed to do this, but I will start this one with 1 propane canister over here, get it burning really good, and then I will plug my hose and bigger bottle into the other side. I'll crack a door, set it over by the door, like right there by the door, and then I'll turn on the bigger bottle while this is still running. I'll let that go for about anywhere from 30 seconds to a minute, maybe 2 minutes tops, and that gives time for the air to purge out of this line. Whenever I'm fairly certain it's running, I'll take this bottle and unscrew it and set it aside. It is a lot easier to start these things with the bigger barbecue grill style bottles if you start out burning one of these first. It's just something I found that makes my life incredibly easier. But anyway, go pick one of these up. If you're gonna buy one and only one, I would say get this one. And to be honest with you, I bought this one first. If I could do it over again, and I would just buy both of these. I'd buy 2 of the large ones. These are nice. They serve a purpose, but if I was going to do it over again, I would just get 2 of these. These do serve a purpose, and if you're really broke and on a budget, these are a little bit cheaper, and they will work. There's nothing wrong with this. It's just given the preference of money were no object, I would prefer to go for the bigger one, just because you get more settings and more versatility for the amount of dollars that you spend. Well, anyway, thank you guys for stopping by. You know, I'd really appreciate it if you were to go ahead and hit the like button. It really does help with the YouTube algorithm. And let me know, what do y'all do? Do y'all use propane, kerosene? Do you just run a backup generator? Which we do that as well. You know, what do you do? Let me know, because I learned a lot from you guys in the comments. But anyway, until next time, go ahead and put your phone down, get up, go outside, and start doing the things.